welcome to your Tuesday night 7 o'clock live Gers TV show, and we've got Simon on control. Simon, how you doing?
I'm up to date tonight. It's just usual.
It's okay. Simon's not feeling too great, so he'll be in the kind of background tonight. Ryan, how you doing, buddy?
Doing fine, mate. Doing fine. How are you guys?
Good.
No
very
bad,
well.
no bad.
And Lewis, sorry, yourself?
Aye, I'm alright.
Brilliant. Okay, so main topic of conversation tonight, I think, is we're just going to focus on a very, very big game in 2 days' time again, Fenerbahce in the Europa League last 16. First, we just recap. Obviously, we went to Turkey last week. Got a fantastic performance. How proud? First of all, Ryan, how proud were you of the team last Thursday night?
I was over the moon, mate, to be honest with you. The only thing that disappointed me is the fact my mum only watched my dog for me so I could go to the game. So I had a ticket lined up. I was all sorted with sports options. I was ready to go. Last tick in the box, who's watching the dog? And I was there at the final hurdle.
You should honestly, listen, and this is not the time for this, right? But you should have said I want to feel home, so you should have said I would have stayed at yours for a night or something.
Anyway. I know that now, so I'll save that one for the final, then, mate. That's all right with you?
Save that for the bow.
So 3-1. It could have been much. It could have been much more. It could have been 4-1, 5-1. Obviously, a strange decision. VAR ruled Cyril, the very, very top of Cyril Dessel's fringe to be offside for his goal. But yeah, so it's been a tough season, gents. All year, it's been predominantly lows. Obviously, this is a high. The last few weeks have been insane, and once again, we find ourselves in a strange situation of being out of all domestic trophies, but we've got a great chance of getting to the last 8 of Europe again and beyond. How do we sum it up, guys?
Well, to be honest, as you said, it's been a season of ups and downs, majorly, very much so, downs. But in Europe, it's been second to none, to be honest, and it is reminding us a wee bit of the season that we got to the Europa League final in Seville. It's reminding us a wee bit of that. Like, are we getting a wee bit ahead of ourselves? Thinking about the final, thinking about Bilbao, maybe, but at the same time, why shouldn't we? With how we're performing in Europe, we could go as far as the final. We could win it. Realistically, we could. Because that season that we got to the final in Seville, we were absolutely shocking. In the league anyways, we were absolutely shocking in the league. But we did excellent in Europe. So, look, our recent form in Scotland domestically shouldn't really bother us. And no bother us, I don't know how to word that. It shouldn't get us down in terms of like thinking, oh, we can't get to the final, or we couldn't beat Fenerbahce, we couldn't beat Roma or Bilbao in the next round, we can't beat whoever. Like, we should be confident, especially we've got off a lot of top results against some top teams. Like, don't get me wrong, we got beat away to Man United, but what a performance it was. At home to Tottenham, even away to Malmo as well, away to Olympiacos, that's a great result. And then, of course, away there to Fenerbahce. I'm confident we'll go through, but the tie's certainly not over.
Well, Ryan, before we go on to that, how are you feeling? How do you sum up Rangers' turbulent season up to now with what's said about being out of all trophies realistically and but a chance of glory in Europe again? What's your thoughts on that, mate?
I mean, naturally, it's disappointing that we've let the league slip out of our hands so early and so easily. A lot of the results were preventable. You know, you're pointing towards your one each with Dundee United in October. For me, that was the trigger point for me when it came to Clermont. I was all for sacking at half time that day, to be honest with you. It was that bad. But I think that if you're drawing comparisons to the season in 21-22, we did get to the final in Seville, that, you know, we were still fighting, you know, to a certain extent for, you know, the league at that point. We weren't as quite far out of it as what we are just now. We obviously had the Scottish Cup of a concern. We came back from Seville and won the Scottish Cup on the Saturday. Whereas now, this Europa League is the be-all and end-all for us. It is the one thing that we've still got left in our season that we can fight for. So, you know, we can use the squad wisely, you know, when it comes to this. That I fully expect us to play a full strength team the next 2 games. But I think moving forward for the rest of the league campaign, we need to start seeing your Finlay Curtises and your Bailey Rices of this world to start coming forward. But summing up the whole season, as you asked me to, it's disappointing overall. You know, epitomised by sacking the manager. But it's great to still be involved in, putting Rangers at at one of the top tables in European football is obviously a great thing to happen.
Yep, so then what we start to do, we can start to, as football fans do, to hope and dream and speculate first and foremost. We had a weekend off, I would say unfortunately, because it was a Scottish Cup weekend, so unfortunately we weren't involved in any games. We all know the reason why, we won't go over it again. How much of a benefit going into the game on Thursday do you think having a weekend off is, first of all, guys? Or is it an argument to say it might be a disadvantage because we maybe not keeping the momentum going for Thursday night?
I wouldn't say it's either an advantage or disadvantage. I don't think we would have let the weekend there bother us. I think no matter what, we'd be going into this game with high hopes, with probably a fully fit team, for what we've got, probably a fully fit team, a very much ready team for Thursday. I don't think it would have been an advantage or disadvantage. I do agree with you, it's very unfortunate that we missed out in the weekend, because of course we did go out in the Scottish Cup, but it doesn't affect us in any way for Thursday, I don't think, anyways.
Okay. Ryan, any thoughts on that point I posed?
Yeah, well, Fenerbahce have also had the weekend off, as far as I believe as well, so it's an even Stevens as far as that's concerned. But, when you're looking at how well John Souttar and Leon Balogun played last Thursday in Istanbul, and the lack of minutes that they've had, I'm very glad that they both get the weekend off to recuperate and recover. It would just be our luck that somebody would get injured in the game of the weekend. You're one of your pivotal players. You're a Rasker, a Diamandi, the goalkeeper, even if you want to class him as one of our pivotal players at the moment. Jury's out on that one. But there wouldn't be a more Rangers thing in the world that we were to lose 2 or 3 players at the weekend through injury coming up to a big game. So for me, I'm glad it's happened. Naturally, I'm obviously disappointed getting knocked out of the Scottish Cup in the manner that we did, but I'm glad for the weekend off, and I'm sure the players will benefit from it overall.
Okay, good. Literally in 49 hours' time, the game will have kicked off.
Yep.
So Balogun and Souttar, then, do you think they'll come into the team and think they'll start on Thursday night? I think they've got to.
I think Ryan's mic's shut off.
Do you want to go first on that one, Lewis?
Yeah.
On you go.
Was that, sorry, repeat that?
Yeah, so we'll just kind of say, so obviously Barry changed the formation to great effect last Thursday night. Now, so sorry, I'll kind of rephrase the question. Does he then gamble again and rechange it again to throw Fenerbahce and Mourinho off the track even more, or do we go with the same formation in Turkey on Thursday night?
Nah, see, what? If it's not broken, then don't fix it. I don't think he'll go into the game any differently than what he did on Thursday. I don't think so, anyways.
Yeah. Okay, right.
No, for me, I don't know if you remember a show that we did. I tried to rack my brains in this. I've been waxing lyrical for months about changing it to 3 at the back, and I think I had a bit of an in-depth discussion with Si, and it might even be David Hurd that I was talking about changing it to 3 in the back months and months ago, about why we should be doing it and the benefits that we should be doing it, and I'm glad that somebody's finally listened, to be honest with you. I'm all for keeping the formation the same, to be honest with you. It's just a case of who does he pick, to be honest with you. And the team that finished the game with Sterling playing at right back instead of Ridvan, a more natural right-footed player on the right-hand side, Balogun instead of Proper. For me, the rest of the team picks itself, to be honest with you. I'd be more than happy to see that again.
Yep.
Sorry, I'm not aware if Ryan Robert asking. I'm so
Ryan
sorry,
Proper.
Ryan, because you're on the show. I've done it every week for the last 6 weeks. I think I've started by calling him Ryan Proper.
Don't take offence. I think I'm more handsome. I'm more handsome than him.
It's because
Better in defence than off, probably.
I think I think what I will always try to say to myself is I'm going to ask you a question about it, and I'm going to put a comment in to say, what do you think, Ryan, about Proper? What's Proper's condition? Is he fit to play on Thursday? Do we know?
Don't know.
I've not heard anything at all, mate. Nothing's come out from the club officially. Obviously, wish him well.
Okay. Yeah, of course.
Whether he's fit to play or not, I don't think he will play though, considering the performance that Balogun and Souttar put in.
But if we go 3 at the back, then there's a space for him.
I think Tavernier will go centre half. I think.
So do you think?
You're looking at Balogun, Souttar, Tav, aren't you? Sterling at right back.
I think so.
It can't be. I mean, what does it say though about Proper's performances and his form and his value within the club that you're actually moving the captain off, 10 years almost playing right back every week, every game to centre back just to fill in for a guy that's not performing. It can't be a great sign, can it?
No, you know what? I don't think it's never a great thing. And a player's out of form and you're having to pull somebody out of position to cover for them. It's never a great thing. But the games that we have seen Tavernier at centre back, he's looked reasonably comfortable. And for me, I don't think he has the pace to cover that right hand side anymore, or his right hand side, especially against such a team like Fenerbahce. Who've got a lot of quick players, a lot of good players on their feet. So I don't think he's fast enough, and I don't think he's agile enough either for that right hand side either. So I think he's better suited a more central defence role, and especially the game against Man United as well. He played centre half, and I think it's for the full second half actually, and he looked very comfortable. Of course, playing a great long ball over to the Dessers who got the equaliser. But I don't really have much else to say, but I do think Tavernier will go centre half, and I don't really have much of a problem with that.
I know it's quite mad, I think, in my own opinion, to think about it, that we are moving with this guy being the captain of a decent Dutch team for a couple of years. He's played a lot of games, he's very experienced, he's come over, and we're having to move our players about. But
we've seen that with so many other players as well. They've come over for foreign leagues, and they've came over and they've just not quite done it. Even with Dessers, you could say, with his recent form, he's picking up a bit of form, but like a lot of his games have been very, very poor. And coming over for foreign leagues as well, he played well in Holland anyways, from what I'm aware of. He was quite a solid number 9 in Holland, same with Danilo as well. He's came over and he's not quite hit the nail on the head, to be honest. You find that with a lot of players, and I don't know why. I can't put my head on it. I don't know why these players are struggling so much in Scotland when you could argue that they're playing 10 men behind the ball and you struggle to break it down. But a lot of your other it's not just Scotland that happens either. You don't find that just in Scotland. So, of course, as you said, Robin Proper, a very experienced player, the captain of 20 in Shedder for several years, came over. We all thought, well, with the departure of Goldson, seeing the back of Goldson, bringing this guy in, we thought we'd see a lot more leadership in the squad, and we've not found that yet. Anyways, with Proper, we've not found any sort of leadership. We thought he was picking up a little bit of form when he scored that goal against Celtic, and then when he scored away to Dundee United as well. We thought he was picking up a wee bit of form, getting a wee bit of stability, but he's looked to just get back to his usual. Well, with Rangers anyways.
Okay, good point. Yeah, it's weird, and you've covered some good points there, Lewis, so thank you for that. David Hell's just saying that Proper got knocked out. He's not allowed to play for 2 weeks under the concussion rules.
Right, okay.
Thanks, David, for that.
Just that, I didn't know that, actually.
By the way, see if he hasn't been knocked out, he's in the wrong sport. If he's not been knocked out, he should be doing MMA or boxing.
If he's not been knocked out by Button, he's been knocked out by Barry at half time.
Wow, that was a Sucky Hall Street special, by the way.
Thanks, Mark Aitken just keep us up to date with the upcoming fixtures.
As per usual.
So
Thank you, Mark.
It's always good to have that knowledge here. Thank you.
Right.
Is there a comment in this? Can we want to read out? I can't see it from here, unfortunately. You've got your younger eyes.
I can read the comments if you want, mate.
If
the comments come on the screen, I can read them out.
Is that the one up now for David, or is that somebody else that's commented?
That's Mark Officer saying good evening from all. Good evening all from Northern Ireland, Belfast.
Great stuff, Mark. Good to see you, mate. Hiya. Okay, so do we start then? So Jeff Day at left back and Redvan on the right hand side then, just to carry on with our team for Thursday night. Is that so? But pretty much, a case. I
don't know. I'm still a wee bit stuck in Jeff Day, to be honest. Like, as much as I don't think a single player, bar Proper, who played 25 minutes off an hour at the very most, bar Proper, I don't think any player was bad. But Jeff Day still looked a little bit out of his depth, and me and Si talked about it as well. Just after the game when we did a wee quick show as well, me and Si briefly talked about it. So I still think Jeff Day looked a little bit out of his depth, to be honest. He wasn't really involved in the game as much, and I think he'll be a lot more involved in the game at Ibrox if he does happen to play. I would still play him. I still think I would still play him over Ridvan, especially in a game where we need such physicality. I don't think Ridvan brings that, but of course we'll just need to see how he...
of bringing in on Sterling? No.
Was that, sorry?
If you do the option of bringing on John Sterling at either right or left back, would we bring somebody like Sterling in and drop Jeff Day? Or would we keep Ridvan for left back, consider Jeff Day, and then put Sterling on the right?
Yeah.
Taz place.
I would stick with that, to be honest. I'd probably put Jeffy on the left hand side and Stelling at the right hand side, so we could play Tavernier at centre half if proper is out for the game, as we said earlier on. I would play Dejan Stelling at right back because he came on and he seemed to absolutely boss it, getting stuck into tackles. I think was it Alan St Maximin?
Yeah,
in his back pocket as well.
It was actually very astute coaching from Barry. Obviously, St Maximin, very pacey player, and he's brought on Sterling to combat him. So again, a good shout out to interim manager Barry Ferguson there. Ryan, any thoughts on what we discussed in the last minute or two there with the left and right back situation at the club?
I think the left back position's the main one. It'd be interesting to see St Maximin starts. For me, Sterling starts regardless. To be honest with you, playing Ridvan at right back, he's obviously a fish out of water, and he's doing a job there, and he's doing as best as he possibly can. He's had a couple of half decent assists. They're notably the one at Old Trafford for Dessers' goal. You got to be wary of the boy. Is it Mulder on the right hand side for them? He looked a good output for them as well. He was delivering some great crosses and stuff like that. So you've got to be kind of wary of his attributes and his abilities and stuff. So it's a big call. The left back is probably one of the positions in the team that's probably up for the most debate, to be honest with you, is who starts at left back. Ridvan will probably, I believe, be the most motivated for the game, given the fact he's obviously Besiktas background. I think, truth be told, he'd be trying to engineer a move to Turkey in the summer, trying to work his tickets. So he'd probably be the most motivated for the game. Jeffy probably is out of form as well. If you want to be a bit harsh on him, he's not been playing to the best of abilities. There's a couple of kind of accidents waiting to happen. I think if you look at the goal that Queen's Park scored as an example of kind of his form of late, he's had a couple of other kind of bad errors. I think the goal of Motherwell and stuff like that, the second goal in particular was a bit of a howler from him. Ridvan, I wouldn't have any problems with either of them, to be honest with you, but if you asked me if I was to pick a team, if I was Barry Ferguson, I'd probably start with Ridvan.
I'll tend to agree. I think Jeffy's been out of position for a few weeks now, a few goals. I've looked back to, as you say, Motherwell. I looked back to the Queen's Park game and the Man United game at Old Trafford as well. I think for this particular game, I think Jeffy has been playing well this season. I think they might be using him a bit too much often. I think they maybe could benefit from a game or two on the bench. But I think for this game, Ryan, it's a very good point with Ridvan's motivation for this game, coming against a Turkish club, with the Turkish media will be watching him as well. So he could be very well used as a springboard, which, if he gets a hat-trick and which is through to the quarter-finals, then, fair play to him.
I'd like to see that one happen.
Well, interesting. So, midfield then, I'll start by saying Raskin has to start, but I'm open to persuasion for anybody else. Who would you start in midfield, Lewis?
I would say Raskin, Diamande, Barron, to be honest. I've nothing else to say, but they three absolutely bossed in the midfield on Thursday. They absolutely bossed it, especially Connor Barron as well. Coming back from injury, getting thrown right into the deep end, didn't look out of place in the team at all.
Good, okay, cool. Ryan?
Yeah, much the same for me. Get the Bath brothers in there, Barron and Raskin. And I think you're going to see the best at Diamande in there, where he doesn't have to be as disciplined in his position when he's part of a two. If he's part of a three, it kind of gives him more freedom to be that bit more expressive and show more what he was, the player that we actually signed from Northlands, to be honest with you. So I can't argue with that at all. I mean, your alternatives, does Tom Lawrence come in based on his experience? Obviously, we know he's probably not got much of a future at Ibrox, but he's been okay in some of the European games. Go Leon earlier on in the season as well, for example. There's Rami possibly in the middle, Hadji in the middle. So it sticks out that you've got to go with the same three in the middle of the park. They were absolutely fantastic last week in Istanbul, and to be honest, they've earned their chance to start the game again and reproduce what they've done before.
Yeah, it's hard to disagree with that, and also think if you're going with five at the back and you're playing three in midfield, then it has to be more central players that start rather than the players that come in for the wide positions. So, like Hadji, for example, and Rami. So, I think that we're all in agreement. Then I think that the midfield three will be Barron and Raskin and Diamande, with Raskin and Barron probably sitting off the defence a bit more, and Diamande getting freedom to go up a little bit and support the attack. That leaves two spots for the forward positions, and are we going with Czerny and Dessers?
Aye, yeah. Czerny, Dessers picks itself, I think, for me.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a very
Aye,
to the
listen,
point, Lewis. I like
again,
that. Right to the point.
100%. Czerny, the free roll, find the space on the right-hand side of the park. As he done for his goal, he was driving through the middle for his first goal. He was finding the space on the right-hand side. He's left-footed, so he'd be comfortable finding space out the left-hand flank as well. So why not go and find areas of the park where you can go and do the most damage and make yourself difficult to mark and difficult to play against and create spaces for other players to work their way into. Czerny all day long for me, absolutely. It's just a shame that he's talking himself out a move, or his agency's been talking himself out a potential move this week, which I'm sure we'll come to in a couple of minutes. But Dessers as well, arguably man of the match last week. There he scored. He could have had a hat trick if VAR had been a better friend to him.
Very close.
Setting up Czerny's goal was the one touch for the 1-2. For Czerny's goal was absolutely brilliant. To be honest with you, if that's Haaland and Foden, we were going to be talking about that for the rest of the year. To be honest with you, but the fact that it's Czerny and Dessers, it just gets pushed under the carpet.
I think someone for our attacks were absolutely very, very good. Raskin played particularly well with a couple of assists, and some of his balls were very, very well spot on as well. So you talked about Tom Lawrence there, Ryan, but I thought Raskin did really well last week with his passing.
Yeah, it was fantastic. But your alternatives to Czerny and Dessers, you're starting to kind of drift into your Bajrami again. You're looking at Hadji, talking about Egeman, who's going through quite a bit of a goal drought at the moment. I don't think he's scored in 10 games. I think I read earlier on that he's there.
It's 10 games now. 10 games, aye.
Yeah.
Danilo's lacking a serious amount of match minutes as well.
Is Danilo in the squad now for Europe?
Aye, he's in the squad.
Danilo was one that was put in. Hadji, Danilo, and NCR were the three that came in.
If you go with that team, then at least, sorry Ryan, sorry, finish off what you were saying there, mate.
Not at all, mate, not at all.
So saying,
carry on, mate. Carry on.
If we start with this kind of same team, then most of the same team, apart from obviously bringing in Sutton and Balogun and dropping Proper out of the team, it gives us options. It's something we've not really had a lot of this season for a lot of games as options. So if we do have guys like Egeman, Hadji, Bajrami on the bench, it gives us something that we can rely on in the second half. It gives even Lawrence as well. It's something we've not really had a lot of this season, unfortunately, which is our own fault for maybe our medical department and whatnot, and maybe the way we're training, perhaps. But
see if you look at the strength of the bench, Scotty.
Yeah.
Well, see if you look at the strength of the bench from Istanbul to what we had at Old Trafford. The strength of the bench is night and day. We're bringing on nothing against them, Bailey Rice and Finlay Curtis. Obviously, we hope these boys have a bright and successful future at Ibrox. But you're bringing them on 1-0 down at Old Trafford, and you're looking to try and do something with it. And no offence to the boys, but I'd rather have more experienced pros with water under the bridge and miles in the tyres than bringing on 18-year-old boys to try and win football games at Old Trafford. So it's great to have the options. It's just that, like with I waxed lyrical about the 3-5-2, and I'm sorry to go on about it, but this was all about the different options. You do have pull players out of centre half. You can pull players out of midfield. You've got multiple players in the team that can play in behind the striker. You've got 3 decent strikers in the squad as well. So it's not just options for us, it's also competition for places as well. These guys will be looking over their shoulder, and there'll be guys looking to come and take their jersey off them. So if they're not performing to their best levels, they will lose their place. So we're asking for more out of them as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely correct. But on any comments to catch up on, anything? Obviously, guys watching from home, it's your show. Any thoughts on the performance last Thursday? If you get any comments or any suggestions about the team lineup on Thursday, let us know as well. It's always good to get a bit of debate and a bit of people talking. So, unfortunately, I don't have my glasses on, so I'm going to rely on others around me to let me know of any comments that we can.
And if you're wanting to phone in as well, just remember leave the last 3 digits of your phone number in the comments as well.
Good. Okay. Yep. So
I can read the comments out if you want, mate, because they're coming up on my screen here quite easy to read, so I can read the comments out if you want. Save your eyesight.
I've just got a few from Mark again, just letting us know about matches coming up and fixtures and stuff like that. So thanks again for that. It's much appreciated.
As always.
So so just get back to the game on Thursday night. I think something that I think has carried us through a lot of games, especially at home, is the atmosphere and the kind of cauldron of noise and the displays and the passion that the fans show. I don't really have to ask this question, but we must expect the same. It's going to be a electric on Thursday night, isn't it, guys?
Oh, it's going to be unreal. And I think I'm going to briefly touch on, there's a wee fan march going for the Cessnock underground station all the way up to Ibrox at about 6:30, I think it is, 6:30. And if I remember right, the last time the Union Bears or Rangers fans did anything like that was Dortmund at home as well, a good few seasons ago. So, yeah, I think that'll get the fans fired up for whoever's going to that. Unfortunately, I won't be as well because our bus won't get there until probably about 7 o'clock, 7:30, so I won't be there. But, yep, no, aye. Anyways, atmosphere, as always, going to be electric at Ibrox.
Yeah, so
this game.
Yeah, there will, as Lewis said, there'll be a fan match on Thursday night at the Gers TV. We would urge you to obviously go to that if you like, march to the stadium, show your support, but obviously behave in a way that reflects, well on yourself and the club as well. Looking forward to the atmosphere on Thursday night, Ryan.
Yeah, definitely, mate. I'm led to believe it's a sellout as well. I think the general sale went on Monday at 10 o'clock, and it was done and dusted within half an hour. Every ticket was bought.
Yep.
You were a few weeks ago, you could get a ticket for Ibrox for free, to be honest with you. People were literally giving them away. And now we're back in the situation where we're a sellout. So it'd be great to see that. I'm sure that the 49ers Enterprises will be having a watchful eye on the game. So it'd be great for us to showcase Ibrox in its best form on Thursday night to what would be investors for the club. So I'd like to show that we'll do we'll show ourselves in the best possible light. I would love, again, if I had a magic wand scenario, the tifo on Thursday night. How amazing would it be if it was an image of Graham Souness when he planted the Galatasaray flag into the middle of Fenerbahce's park? How amazing would it be if it was a tifo of Graham Souness on Thursday night?
Unreal, mate.
Unbelievable. So we'll wait to see what they've got up their sleeves for us.
Very, very interesting.
Also, as you were touching there in the 49ers, I believe news recently came out they bought about 2.5 million shares at about 20p a share. Don't know what you have to say on that. I don't know if we can cover that a wee bit.
Well, we can cover, maybe just finish off about the fenerbahce game, and then we can have a wee chat about that. I was going to mention that towards the end anyway, just to kind of wrap things up and have a wee chat about that if there was anything to read into that. Just my kind of thoughts on it's just so strange that you go to Ibrox and a week game, a weekend game and a midweek game, and I'll be the first to admit that sometimes it can't be the most intimidating atmosphere when it's league games these days because of the form, etc. And
say the least.
I totally accept that, but yeah, there's just something incredible about it's just Rangers. It's just that, isn't it? It's just the last few years.
I think in the league, your own players are more.
Yeah, we have made Thursday night.
I'm more intimidated by our fans.
Just a word on fenerbahce then. So fenerbahce, I'll ask you the predictions then we'll go into the news about the shares, okay? So were you surprised, just touching on fenerbahce, were you surprised at their performance last week? Do you think they'll have anything up their sleeve for Thursday night this week coming up?
Surprised? Yeah, very surprised. I think majority of Rangers fans would have been surprised at that result on Thursday night. Of course, the performance wasn't necessarily for me, but the result was. I thought I'd have been more than happy if we came away from that game with a draw or even a 1-goal deficit, to be honest. Of course, you never want your team to lose. You never even play for a draw either. You never want to play for a draw, especially a team like Rangers. But you'd have been happy just to stay in the tie. This time last week, you'd have been more than happy just to stay in the tie, get back to Ibrox and hopefully win there. But yeah, I was very, very surprised with the result. The performance the players put in was unbelievable. And of course, I think before the game we were all a bit questioning Barry Ferguson's tactics going into the game with what looked like to be a 5 at the back. Well, it turned out to be a 5 at the back. But I don't think anyone was slating him for his decisions afterwards. So whether we see him trying to sort of throw us off guard a wee bit again for Thursday, sort of change things up a wee bit, or if he'll just stick to the same, I don't know. I hope he just sticks to the same, and I think he will. But you never know.
Never know. Correct. Okay, Ryan, anything to say about fenerbahce last week? I think they were tried to surprise us. I know Fred's, I think they're coming back from suspension. Marino was kind of waxing lyrical about him after the game, his press conference, they missed him. For me, he didn't really impress me when I seen him playing at Manchester United, but by all accounts, he's doing quite well over in Turkey. So, any thoughts on how fenerbahce will line up on Thursday night, Ryan?
I think you probably got to draw comparisons to Fred to several of our players who didn't make the grade at Ibrox, but went on and done fantastically well at other clubs. I think we could point the finger at several players, to be honest with you. They just, the shirt was too big for them with us and the expectation of there, and they went to, so-called smaller clubs and done a lot better. For me, we've got to play a really smart, professional game. On Thursday night, we've got to we'll be well aware that Fenerbahce will be come out and they'll try and hurt us early doors. So, last Thursday night, the first 15, 20 minutes are very, very, very important. If we go out and lose an early goal, their Fenerbahce will get their tails up. We've heard about, both Clement and Ferguson spoke about a nervousness within the team, that they feel nervous playing at Ibrox. If Fenerbahce come out and score in the first 5-10 minutes, that nervousness is going to creep back in. So they've got to go out there and do their job. They've got to, be quite clever, slow things down. If they feel as if there's a possibility that Jack Butland might need to take a wee bit longer for a bye kick, it happens to us all the time when teams come to Ibrox, so why should we not return the favour to other teams when they're coming to us? So we've got to get a right good professional performance, but we've also got our responsibility as fans that if things aren't going so well on the park, let's not get on top of the team like we normally do. Let's be honest, we've been highly critical of the team, and myself included within that. Let's make sure that we're on the player's side and we're encouraging them as much as we possibly can if things aren't going well.
Yep,
but
point. I think that I'm certainly drawing upon the experience of Dortmund a couple of years ago. You did reference the fan march and now Dortmund, so it kind of jogged my memory a little bit. We had a similar result away in Germany, 2-goal advantage. I think it was 4-2 over in Germany.
Yep.
And obviously very similar 3-1 in Turkey last week, and I believe Dortmund did score the first goal, if I remember correctly.
No, Rangers scored the first goal, but Dortmund went 2-1.
Okay, apologies. Okay, aye. So Rangers scored first, and then so what my point is,
I think we scored first.
So Dortmund had the lead at one point in the game, and the fans were brilliant that night and didn't actually go against it, to keep the atmosphere going. So. Are you sure Dortmund didn't take the lead that night? I could be wrong. Anyway,
I don't know. I think so. I think we scored first.
No, we went 1-0 at half penalty.
Aye, I thought that.
Okay.
I thought that.
Okay.
We went 1-0 up. They then scored. I think it was Malin, and then Bellingham scored, and then Tav scored from.
I couldn't mean it was Bellingham then Malin, or Malin then Bellingham, but yeah, you're right. You're right, mate.
Tav then equalised from Bassey's cross. And we should have actually went 3-2 up because Morelos was fouled, and then he tapped in early in game for a tap in.
Right, yeah, I remember that. Watching highlights.
Remember that, watching it.
So yeah, the general point remains that we did go up behind in that the home game, whatever briefly, but the fans kept with the club and kept with the team, and hopefully, I'm sure that will happen again on Thursday night. I don't think we're getting. It's just to sum up then before we talk about what kind of breaking news today. Just sum up then, just final thoughts of the game. Then, so I'll ask you first of all, Ryan, for your final thoughts on how you're much looking forward to Thursday, and then end with your prediction for the game, the score.
Yeah, obviously, absolutely buzzing for it. It's great to have a feel good feeling going back to Ibrox. Truth be told, last few times we've been dreading it because what we're actually getting presented with in the park it's been substandard. So it's great to go with a kind of wee bit of a skip in your step to go there. Result wise, to be honest with you, one each. I don't think Fenerbahce could be as poor as what they were last Thursday again. To be honest, we just need to make sure that we don't lose the game. So one each would be absolutely fine for me.
Okay, good. Okay, Lewis.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with your score prediction. I think 1 each or even 2 on Rangers. But no worries.
Just want to clarify something. How you doing, Mark?
Hello.
Hi, Mark.
Right, Mark, how you doing?
Not too bad.
Good stuff.
Good to hear, pal.
Good to hear from you. What's on your mind tonight, Mark?
It's just the problem that the shares are an issue.
Okay, good. Yeah, we're just about to come on to that, so that's great. What can you tell us then, Mark?
Well, basically there's a fair bit of confusion about the weights that presented by the media. However, if you go back to the accounts which were issued to the AGM in December, it's actually all in there.
All right.
What's going to be happening. So basically between money that's already been put in by shareholders and investors to bet, that's about 9 million quid. And then some new that brings up to 17 million. So that was already known in December. It's not an immediate reaction to the way we've been playing this year. It's not an immediate reaction to the 49ers. It's not a way for the existing shareholders to make money should the 49ers deal go through. If you look at this, if you look at what we've done in the last year, let's say for instance, let's just take an example of all the costs that would have been incurred going to Hampden. Unexpected, huge costs, overrunning the bill, and you start to get the message on where that number comes from. And it also kind of fits in quite nicely with it. As you may remember a couple of years ago, the board got permission to issue a certain number of shares each year. And that's usually between, they're allowed to do up to 8 or 9 million a year. So they've managed to get this through over effectively 2 periods. So that's good in. And then later on the season, for the earlier today, you might have seen kind of scare about a charge over some of the club's assets from Macquarie Bank.
Yeah, I've actually just been saying that. I've been saying that in the last 5 minutes, Mark. So can you explain that a bit to us and the people watching at home?
Well, without scaring anybody, you remember Octopus back 10 years ago or 12 years ago, however long it was. What all football clubs have got a problem with is from about February to the end of May, you don't have, your numbers go down. You've had the season ticket money for a long time. That's been drawn down. So as you get to the end of the year, you're running out of cash.
Okay.
So the way this is done is to fund the cash flow until you get to the season ticket renewal date, and then all the 12, 13, 14 million quid starts to flow into the funder. So it's actually quite it's practical and it's prudent to run the business that way, that you've got a facility which you don't need to use, but it's there if you do have to use it. So it's not as though this has been sprung on the club because the 49ers, the share issue and the conversion of the debt to shares and the new issue of shares has been done. And then obviously this is just part of the whole day-to-day running. We've also got, if you go back to the accounts, we know that Rangers live in a different world from the rest of Scottish football because of the hysteria.
Yeah.
And Rangers could have issued their accounts last year without making these provisions and either done it, not done it, made other arrangements. But if you hadn't put that in and hadn't made those arrangements, the accountants would have had to put in what they call an emphasis of matter, which they're saying as well, the club's running okay just now, but without having these things in place, will it be a going concern in 12 months' time? So once the boards have gone to the accountants and said, we're going to issue these shares, shareholders are signed up to it, investors are signed up to it, as a matter of prudence, the accountants would go to the various shareholders and directors and say, this plan, and you signed up to it? Yes, we are, yes, right, no problem. We know that money is going to be coming in. So it's, it can get a little bit complicated, but that's effectively what's been done.
Okay, so may I just have a quick recap then, just summarise it in Mark from what I'm understanding then. So the share issue announced today is nothing that hasn't been planned in advance, and the loan is basically just a security to make sure we've got cash flow until the end of the season, until we get the season ticket money and the prize money potentially for Europe as well.
Oh, yeah, that's it exactly. If you look, for instance, say let's look at the fenerbahce game. Let's compare it with CE. Pre-COVID, if you remember, we played Bayern Leverkusen on the Thursday night.
Yep.
And then all the COVID restrictions came in on the Friday. So because we were able to play that game on the Thursday night, the gate money was around £2 million.
Yep.
You know, between corporate hospitality, blah blah blah. The same with this fenerbahce game. The game sold out at 46 quid a seat. Corporate hospitality's all gone. You're in, you're coming to quarter-final stages, and so you've got a great result. So you might actually start to pick up more money from the UEFA that you didn't expect to get. So you might not need the overdraft effectively, but you've got to do if you do need it.
Good.
So that's
Okay.
what it's there for, to pick up any slack that the provider has in their cash flow.
Okay, Mark, can I just ask you a kind of question? We've had a comment come in, right? I just want to ask you what you think of this, if that's okay. Our viewer Alex has said the share issue is to raise cash to pay off those owed money for the soft loans, which basically clears all the debt for any potential takeover. What's your answer to that? Is that true? Is that accurate?
Well, it was done before the notice of the interest from the 49ers.
Okay, good.
You know, these accounts would have been probably done, they've been done for 6 months between the end of the season and December. So it's got nothing to do with the 49ers. What it's got to do with is paying people off who provided loans and those who had committed to further funding in the covenant. So it's really nothing to do. The only thing it does for the 49ers point of view is because there's extra money coming in, it actually makes the balance sheet stronger.
Yep.
So in terms of the 49ers, it's certainly not going to put them off having more money in the coffers.
Perfect. Okay, good answer. Thanks very much. Lewis, Ryan, anything to ask Mark, to clarify, or for anything really, anything to question or ask?
Yeah, to be honest, I've not got an absolute clue about the whole financial side, to be honest. I'm just going to be complete. I'm not going to beat around the bush. I'm not going to say, I'm not going to pretend like I've got a clue.
I don't think many of your directors have in the last 10 years either, mate.
Fair enough. You know what, you're fair enough. I could probably get a job there somewhere in the board.
I wouldn't worry too much about that. Okay, Ryan?
Yeah, I don't know, Mark, can you hear me? No, I don't think you can. If you can relay this one, Gordon, just...
Okay, Mark, I want to relay a question from somebody, from Ryan from the OK, so just one second.
Aye, so obviously Mark's, in the building as far as I don't know if it's still called fan media, but he's closer to the club than what we are. How close does he believe that the deal is? There was an interview that actually came out earlier on. I think it was released at the weekend there from a source close to the 49ers, and he was under the impression the deal wasn't as far along as what we believed it was. Has Mark got any idea from his kind of knowledge of how close the deal is to actually being finished?
Okay. No, it's okay. Okay, thanks, Ryan. So, Mark, Ryan's asking, we've had in the last couple of weeks, there's been fairly contradictory statements made about how far along this deal actually is. Do you have anything you can share with ourselves and the viewers about how close this deal is to completion, if at all?
Well, I think the fact that it's still running, the stories are still appearing. If you look at the presence of 49ers people in Turkey is telling you that it's still going on. Most of this stuff is so tied up with non-disclosure agreements that people are petrified to give out any information, and that's quite understandable. So I don't think there's really many people in the press have got a huge inside track on this, because you're dealing with a huge organisation in the 49ers operating. So they're still going ahead, and I think the fact that it's taken this amount of time, which is long but not too long, is probably telling you that the team's still alive.
Okay, good. Okay, thanks very much. Ryan's that answers that. Anything to follow up on that, Ryan?
I think it's great to see that both sides of the deal are looking to do business. So I'm fingers crossed, fingers toes, everything crossed. To be honest with you, this goes through.
Okay.
I'm scared to think what would happen if it didn't go through.
Yeah. let's not cross it now. So Mark, thanks very much for your insight there and just explaining to ourselves and viewers about the news today, breaking about the shares. Before we let you go, give us your thoughts about Thursday night and your prediction for Thursday night, if you could, sir.
Fenerbahce didn't see the best of them last Thursday. I must have like what fan of Tadic, and Tadic was the Ajax captain. Tadic was a legend with Ajax. They've got the boys that mentioned, the love player they've got usually Deco, Jekyll's that springs to mind. They've got some very, very talented and dangerous players. So the fact that they could come to Ibrox and get up to nothing is not beyond the bounds of possibility. You know, I think we've got to be very clear about that. We don't hear a lot in this country about Turkish football, but they're a very, very dangerous team, and we know where Jose Mourinho, what a tactical genius he is. So we've got to be on our game, on our best of games. Will these guys who've been through the fire and brimstone of Galatasaray and the Besiktas derbies be awed by Ibrox? Probably not. So we're going to have a tough game on Thursday night. But that's the whole part of being a football fan.
Of course,
you know, your good seasons, your bad seasons, your bad results. So if you look at some of the results we've had this season, they make no sense. Getting put out the Scottish Cup for Queen's Park makes no sense. Drawn, in the cup final against a Celtic team that were going to destroy us 6-0 makes no sense. Results against Spurs, beating Celtic 3-0 to Ibrox, it makes no sense. Because that's the collection of players we've got, that's the management we've had under this year. So I would say everybody go there, play your part, sing, dance, encourage, and it's in the lap of the gods. And that phrase that's trying to dominate is Rangers Thursdays. It's there for a reason. In the last, 5 seasons or so, Ibrox has been absolutely magical in European nights. We've had big games against big teams, and we've had big results. So here's what we take carries on. And I would go for 2-1.
Good. Okay, Mark, if it's okay with yourself, I'm just going to ask you one last question on behalf of one of your viewers, if that's okay.
Sure.
Okay, one last question, mate, 'cause we appreciate your time. I know you're a busy man. So Alex Kelly's saying more and more American consortiums are buying into UK football clubs, whether it's Man United, Liverpool, Bournemouth, Chelsea, and now we're looking at clubs in Scotland as well, which include interest in Aberdeen, Hibs, Dunfermline, and of course ourselves. Do you have any concerns over this, or is it positive, or do you have any concerns?
I won't get concerned if you've got something that's effectively unknown to the game, that you can't touch, that are overseas, that would possibly have over 50% of the shares. So I'd be looking to see if we can get an asset lock in there. But on the other hand, are the 49ers looking to invest in a football club which is in the Scottish League, which is not big compared with the English League financially? So why are they investing? It's because they see a potential, and I don't think these guys are in the business of having losers. So you come to a point, show you what happened with Portsmouth, where they were owned by 7 different people in 1 year, I believe. Club was spiraling out of control. They were bought over by the support trust. But then as they progressed, they got to that point in the English League system where they could self-finance themselves further up the pyramid.
Yep.
So they had to sell out the American, who had lots and lots of unencumbered cash. And I think that's what we're looking at here. As the resources that 49ers have got would be good for Rangers. But as overwhelmed under David Murray and maybe some other people that probably went from that to us, got to be very, very careful about who we find.
Okay, so
I've got belief that the current board will have a fault. They are all Rangers fans, and they will make that decision with the right one.
okay, good. Okay, Mark, fascinating as always. Really appreciate your thoughts and insight. Pleasure to have you on again on the Gers TV, Mark. Thank you so much. Appreciate your time, sir.
Thank you very much. Yep, once again.
Enjoy.
Thanks, mate. Take
Thank
care.
you. Take
Enjoy
care,
Thursday
pal.
night.
We are
Take
people.
care. Okay, that was Mark Dingwall there. Absolutely fascinating as always. To hear Mark's thoughts and to hear Mark's insights, and he always puts it so well as well. So very much grateful for Mark's time there. Ryan, any thoughts on what Mark's informed us of there overall?
No, I just think we're going to become part of the modern football age. Alistair Johnson spoke about the AGM about multiple club ownership and different markets that were going to be pursued. We're basically going to become part of a global football brand. And if it progresses as and it secures the long-term safety of Rangers Football Club, we've got to embrace it. Gone are the days where we've got one rich guy funding all of our hobby are long gone. So we've got to kind of look forward and work smarter, not harder, to become a successful football club again. So we've got to wait and see. I'm all for it. I'm excited by it, but obviously cautious at the same time, because there's certain things that we've got to protect ourselves from as well, as we've seen before.
Yep. Lewis?
Aye, well, of course, I think we've got to be optimistic, as Mark Dingwall said. The rumours and the articles and news articles wouldn't still be going about if this wasn't true and it wasn't genuine. Of course, the news came out the other day as well that they'd bought about 2.5 million shares in the club as well at 20p a share. So you've got to be optimistic. I know a boy Gary Faith that goes over to San Francisco to watch the 49ers occasionally as well. So I hope he's buzzing with it. But yeah, you've got to be optimistic. I think it will happen.
Is that what he's telling you he's going to watch San Francisco for?
But yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. It looks as if the deal's going to be done in between April and June.
That's like Ryan and Simon tell us, like, going after a weekend in Brighton again to watch Brighton play. Only kidding. So I think what we're feeling here, and what the gist with Mark was saying as well, again, kind of guarded optimism. So optimism, but we've still got that kind of, in a couple of years, I think Alex and Thomas are saying as long as they have Rangers motives at heart, which let's be honest, we don't know what their motives are at this moment in time. No one's really come out and said what their motives are. You would like, obviously, their motives is to buy into European football. They're obviously not wanting to lose money either. So that will remain to be seen what their precise exact motives are. But I think the kind of mood of the club at the moment is kind of guarded optimism.
Yeah, definitely. But see if for their side of things, see if we can filter £10 million across the pond every year, and they're putting money into us. They're obviously going to invest a lot of money to start with. But see at the end of the, in 5 years' time, we're generating £10 million that's going across the water, going across the pond, and they'll be looking at that as a shrewd investment, to be honest with you. They'll probably look to I think there'll be a good amount of money will come in to start with. So we've got to have the squad ready for the summer, because we've got the Champions League qualifiers. So they could very, very quickly find themselves owning the club that's in the Champions League if they do it right, if they get the right manager in quickly, if we get the right, personnel on the playing field in quickly. It could happen. It could happen really, my concern is overpricing.
And if we win the Europa League, then we're straight out of the Champions League.
Aye, yep.
So
yep.
there we go.
I've got a concern over pricing. Is mine.
Yeah. So obviously we see it down at Man United at the moment. I know it's Ratcliffe that's brought over them, but there's a bit of a kind of revolt going on at Man United right now. The pricing and changes getting made down there. So that's interesting. And I think Thomas he doesn't want us to go down the road of having Murray in charge, like a similar figure to a Money. But as Mark Dingwall says, I think gone are the days where you're going to have that one person running the club. It seems to be it's more like a kind of consortium or a group rather than anything else, rather than an individual shareholder owning 51% of the shares. Yep, so
Yeah. Right.
probably quite a good time to wrap things up then. We are getting on to be on air for just about an hour or so at the moment. Champions League, Alex just saying that Champions League's the gateway to all the finances that we want and need, and absolutely. So let's try to finish in a positive. If we do win the Europa League, it gets us straight into the Champions League, and we are 3-1 up in the first leg. It's a very exciting week. We have the Old Firm game coming up on Sunday as well. We'll talk more about that later on in the week at the Gers TV. But first and foremost, we've got a massive opportunity on Thursday to get to a European quarter-final again. So really positive this week, hopefully. And just sum it up, Ryan. Just your final thoughts on Thursday's game.
Let's do it. Let's just go and do it. We talk the talk. Let's go and walk the walk.
Lewis?
As Ryan said, I'm very, very, very fired up for the game. I'm looking forward to it. As Ryan said, I'm absolutely buzzing. I do have to agree with him. I would take a draw. I would take anything to go through, even a 1-goal loss, as long as we go through. I don't care how we go through.
Yep.
How do we get there? I don't know. How do we get there? I don't care. But
27 or 30, I've heard. But, no, I mean.
but
so,
yeah, no.
Yeah,
right.
Brilliant. Okay, thanks, Lewis. Thanks, Ryan. Thanks to Mark for coming on the show tonight as well. Thanks for everyone watching at home, sending your comments in. And I'm going to finish with Alex Kelly. He summed it up for me. He says, "Come on, the Rangers." So I'll echo that as well. And just a final thought for the Gers TV: if you're watching the game, going to the game on Thursday, stay safe, do yourself proud. Roll on the Rangers, and always remember, we are
The people.